Okay, so it looks like it's working. Hopefully it's working. I'm just gonna go over real quick the progress from this week. Took a few trades. What am I doing? I don't want that anyway. Let's put up the markers. Okay, here we go. So this morning, this was right at the open here. We couldn't get past the EMA down here. It chopped around a bit. And then when they were failing to even break below this stuff here and this EMA was holding, I went ahead and I entered up in here and just scalped out for a few points. I think I got, 10 points or 34 to 45, yeah, like 11 points or whatever. I wasn't looking for anything big on that. Just saw the rejection down here at the open. Just saw the rejection down here is looking bullish. And we did have some decent heat, some decent orders on Bookmap up above at that time, but yeah, right after I'm exiting, bam, this thing drops back down, and I'm okay. Let me be patient. Let me see if it's going lower, but it didn't, and I couldn't stay around. I had work to do, so I wasn't here for the whole morning rush. But then after I get back from work, I thought this breakdown here was gonna break through VWAP, so I had shorted here when this had stopped here and we were kind of consolidating here. So I got in short here, didn't work out, was waiting. I had my stop up at the high of the day. What was it, about a $600 stop, I think. And we never even got past this stuff here, the 770s. And then end of the day, I went ahead and added when we popped up here and we started to reject off of the pivot point. So I added a couple, 3 contracts up here and was able to get out right after the close here. Should have been a little more patient on this one for sure, but I don't like to be patient after 1 p.m. close. But yeah, I had a nice, this was 5 contracts, so this exiting here at 20, it went down to another 40, that's $400 that I had left there that I could have been patient for another 15 minutes and had another $400 on that short. But yeah, after 1 p.m. I don't really like to hang around because if it makes a move against you, you don't really have time to wait for it to come back. So yeah, usually this is how I usually play my end of the day stuff. I'm usually looking to add. If I'm negative, I'm usually looking to add right at the end there and look for the reversal after hours. This is a common trade that I do with my micros. That's the flexibility that I like about the micros. If you're in a mini, you just can't have big stops like this. But with the micros, you can afford the big stop. And if this thing had popped up into this stuff here, I was just going to stop out because it was already going to be hitting, like, I think it'd already been like 400 or something if I was up here. Once it got up to about, like, I think I had calculated about 70, was it going to be about a $400 or $500 loss, and I was just going to stop if it got back up to these highs on these wicks here. I was just going to go ahead and take the stop, take the loss on that one, but it didn't come to that. It went in my favor and ended the day positive by, I think it was a couple $100. I think I ended up making like 180, $190 on this account. So this account is now up almost 5,000. I think it's like 4,700, 4,800, something like that. So almost 5,000, I think, on this account now. I only did 1 account today. I did 3 accounts yesterday, 3 of my PA accounts, or 4. I did 4 of my PA accounts yesterday, and my total was right at 900, I think, for the day. Actually, I can go back and look at some of those. No, that's all right. I don't want to do that. That's all right. But yeah, I had 4 accounts yesterday. I made about 900. I had passed a couple evals earlier in the week that replaced a couple of PAs that I had failed. I had tried to push on a couple of PAs and blew those up. I had tried to size up a bit and get some quick profits, trying to build up get rid of that buffer, trying to get past that 2,500 drawdown, trailing drawdown, but did not work. Failed 2, but passed 2 evals. Failed 2 PAs, but I passed 2 evals. So I was right back to 10 accounts again. I still have the same core 5 accounts that I've been building for a couple of them over a year, a few of them like 3, 4, 5 months. Um, and then I have a couple of them that are like 8 or 9 months, I think. So doing pretty good preserving my accounts if I take my time, but I do tend to blow them if I push and try to get the quick profits early on, trying to get rid of trailing drawdown. I have done it before where I've sized up a bit, like 10 to 20 micros, do that a few times, pretty much playing it like I do my evals. I'll play the PA pretty much like I do my eval and just play kind of aggressive at first and try to get through that trailing drawdown. And once I get past the trailing drawdown, I actually slow down a bit, and I don't size up as aggressively, and I try to really protect it. I don't want to blow these once I get them up there. But if I'm in that first few $100, $500-$600 on the account, and I take a big loss, I'll probably just kind of keep playing it risky, and if it fails, it fails. It's kind of hard to dig out of those holes. So yeah, just trying to get the newer accounts built up past their drawdown, and those, I think I have 5 already that are past drawdown. They're up over 3,000. I got a couple of them that are right at 3,000. I got one at 4,000. I got one at 5,000 something. I think it's almost 6,000. So got to keep playing safe on the ones that are built up, and I'm not going to be so aggressive on these other PAs that only have a couple $100 in them. I'm not going to be so aggressive because the sale is over with Apex. But whenever they have those 90% sales, I go ahead, I'll push a few of my PAs and not really care about if I fail the PA, because I know I can pass those evals pretty easy. I already passed like 3 or 4 evals just this month here. I had passed like 3 or 4 last month, so I'm starting to get pretty confident about passing evals. I don't really stress about that like I used to. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting a good start on the PAs. So right now all my PAs are positive. The ones that I've started trading, my new ones, are all positive, but I have a couple that I haven't even traded on yet. So we'll get back on it on Monday and hopefully have a little more patience. I definitely needed more patience again this week. I had quite a few trades that I should have been more patient on. Even 15 minutes to a half an hour could have made a really big difference on my P&L this week. I would have had some pretty huge trades if I'd just been a little more patient on a few trades. So I'm going to work on that patience again next week. I've been working on it for the past couple years, and it's improving, but still got room to go, plenty of room to improve on the patience aspect. So I'm gonna hang in there and just keep doing my best with patience on entries and exits, everything. And hopefully we'll start to see some more success and reach that first account that hits the $10,000 level. That's the big goal for me now. I've got the few accounts that are over drawdown, and hopefully get one of them up to 10,000 within the next month or 2 here, and start to scale up a little bit more and push for that 20K. And I think once I hit 20,000 in an account, I think then I'll start trying to get some payouts. But yeah, I don't even want to take any payouts until I get these accounts built up to at least 10, 15, 20,000, somewhere in there. It just depends how I'm feeling about my trading, my confidence, etc. But the biggest account that I have is only at about 6,000 right now, so still got a ways to go. But if I can get a good, like I was in for 5 micros today, if I can get a good 5 micro trade, and my goal is to be able to hold on to one of those for about 100 points. I've had some previous trades that were over 100 points, but it was always for like 1 or 2 micros. It was easy to hold those, but I don't think I've ever held anything with 5 micros on my PAs. I don't think I've ever held anything over 100 points. So I'm trying to get to that kind of patience for a 100-point trade on 5 micros, and yeah, see if I can make that a more regular kind of trade for me, rather than these usual, 10 to 20 point trades that I'll get if I size up to like 4 or 5 micros. So trying to work on that patience with the size now that I have a little bit more drawdown, but it's definitely it's definitely an emotional thing for me. I definitely get emotional once I'm sizing up a bit. 4 or 5 micros for me still stresses me out because I've just had that. I know how quickly it can go against you, especially on the NQ. NQ can really make some crazy sudden moves that can really wipe you out. So size is pretty dangerous on the NQ. But our days have been not too crazy on the range over the last few weeks, especially around the holiday. The total range for the day hasn't been that bad. Volume hasn't been that bad, so it hasn't been really crazy moves that much. We had a couple of big days with tariff stuff, but other than that, though, it hasn't really been really big ranges for a few weeks now. So I tend to do better actually when we have those smaller ranges. Uh, so hopefully we can kind of continue with this kind of not too crazy movement and kind of chopping around and not real big ranges, because if we get those big trend days, it's kind of hard to even get an entry on those days a lot of times. That's what happened to me on the last week when we had a couple of big trend days with the announcements. I just pretty much missed the trend. I'd get my little plays within the moves, but I missed the trend because the moves were just so big. I wasn't willing to keep going long off of high points, and they barely give you a little pullback, and I'm not willing to take those kind of chase it kind of trades that much. So just trying to be patient with the overall entries, exits, management, everything, trying to be more patient with everything. Look for good setups, look for the big volume coming in on the wicks, big volume coming in on the key levels, low volume points, stuff like that. All the things that I usually watch, the book map, the liquidity levels on the book map and stuff. Yeah, just keep looking for good plays and good entries, and then being patient on the execution and the management. So we'll see how we do next week. Wishing everybody else good luck out there.